Hello. Hey Japanese. Let's watch a movie that has no Japanese translation. Know the real thing. Well, we lit present. The third topic we offer is education tool. Olubenga Adesida, founder and CEO of Bonoco, based in Africa, wrote, "The digital revolution has changed social relationships and the way we communicate." In some African countries like Kenya and Zimbabwe, mobile payment transactions are responsible for over 40% of GDP. Mobile apps are used to deliver education as well as providing timely information to farmers to enhance their productivity. Similarly, mobile apps are used to deliver price and other market information. At our firm, Bonoco, a mobile games and app development company, it is our platform for continuous education for staff. It is what we use to access training materials from all over the world. We also use digital tools to plan and develop our products in a way that would not have been possible only a few years ago. Developing games and apps requires varied expertise, and collaboration is key. The new tools for collaborative work allow us to work together and to provide virtual access to potential partners, clients to test products no matter where they are in the world. Carl M. Van Meter, founding director of the bilingual scientific quarterly bulletin of sociological methodology, said, "Far from being a brief personal anecdote, what has changed greatly in my life and work, like that of almost everyone in higher education and research, is that the internet and associated technologies mean that no longer only a few top persons have access to the necessary information, technology and means for scientific production and teaching. It is no longer only the director, always a male, who gets his secretary, always a female, to type out his paper and check references before having it published. Almost all competent teachers and researchers have that possibility now. Moreover, they can work together over great distances and form social structures among themselves, independent of centralized or local administrative control." A brief personal anecdote along these lines would be when a national director of scientific research here in France asked to be appointed to an international body associated with UNESCO. That body replied very respectfully to the director that they had already found a better candidate from France who had been working with them via the internet. That other candidate was me. Greg Downey, a professor and associate dean at University of Wisconsin-Madison, said, "When I was a graduate student at a U.S. private research university in the late 1990s, I spent many hours gathering background context for the beginning of a major historical and social research project. Tracking down physical newspaper indexes to footnote references, printed journal volumes and microfilm reels from dozens of access-restricted research libraries. Weeks and months of metadata labor on a particular idea might lead to a viable research project and a source of accessible primary research materials, or to a dead end and a need to start all over. I recall being among the first users of some of the online image databases produced by the federal government to find visual evidence that I simply wouldn't have had the ability to access, or even know it existed, even 5 years earlier." Similarly, once materials were acquired and assembled, only rudimentary organization and writing tools were available for assembling the project into a coherent narrative. I recall being one of the first individuals at my university to use geographic information systems software in my historical analysis and in the production of my final manuscript. All of the temporal and spatial expectations of earning a PhD in the humanities and interpretive social sciences were tied to expectations of analog, print and physically housed resources. Today, students I help mentor through their own doctoral studies have access to all of the material I did 2 decades ago, but with a fraction of the time and travel commitment. This has raised the expectations for comprehensiveness in literature reviews and archival searches. It has raised the expectations for presentation of data and engagement of narrative. It is both easier and harder to do great work now and get that PhD within the same 5-year time period. But I think the work that is done is of higher quality, and the scholars that are produced are of greater intellectual prowess and scope than ever before. Adriana Labadini Inzunza, Commissioner of Mexico's Federal Institute of Telecommunications, said there are so many stories of how IT and Internet have made my work more productive and my access to relevant information far easier, hopefully for others around me as well. As a commissioner at the Federal Institute of Telecommunications, I made sure that our virtual board meetings and deliberations were valid. On many occasions I have been able to deliberate and vote on the cases submitted to the board through a video conference when in business travels, and I also too hold e-meetings with my staff. My office has home office on Mondays, saving hours of wasted time on traffic jams. Ellipsis. A more striking story perhaps is that of Marseille, a smart, determined and brave 19-year-old girl from Xochicalco, an isolated village in the middle of the mountains of Guerrero, 350 kilometers away from Acapulco. Marseille studied elementary and middle school in a rural local school, but there is no high school in Xochicalco, so she would have had to travel each day to Archelia, Guerrero, the seat of that municipality and the closest connected town in the area, 40 miles away, with a daily cost of public transportation of around $4, something totally beyond the family's budget. Her father is a skilled electrician working in the area for a Canadian mining company that pays minimum wages to local people, $4 per day. Her mother grows corn and vegetables and looks after her other two children. So Marseille ended up leaving her hometown and moving to the big city of Mexico to seek a job as domestic helper, hoping she could enroll at a public school. Her job kept her busy all day as a babysitter, and so her mom, who I had the fortune to know from a long time ago, asked me for help to guide Marseille so that she actually gets an education. Marseille moved to my house, but in searching for an affordable high school nearby she encountered many obstacles. I devoted a few hours to seek a public high school online program certified by our Ministry of Education, September, and found it a very impressive 2-year program which begins with a full-month course on the use of IT, the platform, how to interact with your assigned tutor, with teachers, how to deliver homework online, etc. I had never seen a young girl so excited to spend online 4 hours, learn in 3 days to handle a laptop one of my sons gave her. She reads her lessons every day plus a few books I am asking her to read on history, philosophy, etc. She reads 10 pages every morning. It's been only 3 months since she started, and she loves it. She is learning, and finished at the top of her class this quarter. She feels empowered, hopeful. Her parents feel relieved that she doesn't have to travel 2 hours a day to attend school and pay fares. Yet it will take a lot of guidance, hard work and long hours before she earns a high school diploma and, more importantly, a good quality education that enables her to be admitted at UNAM, National Autonomous University of Mexico, or another public university here in Mexico City. There is no such a thing in Archelia, forget Xochicalco, where there is no internet access and a weak signal for only 2G mobile voice services in spite of the presence of a multinational firm extracting all the lithium it can get from Guerrero but not creating much local value to the hard-working people of Xochicalco. I am committed to help Marseille, and she is determined to graduate and pursue her professional education. She wants to become a chef. With a good use of time and technology, discipline and some degree of guidance and support from my sons, I may hopefully help her thrive. Jacob Dancasa, a North American researcher, said, "Technology has connected me to achieve today what I couldn't imagine in the past. When I was doing my doctoral dissertation, I was supposed to travel to Nigeria from the US to conduct interviews with my research participants. Unfortunately, the Ebola epidemic blew up in Africa and I was unable to go. Fortunately, software existed that allowed me to interview the participants and automatically record the sessions as I interviewed them. The price was reasonable. It saved me money and time and avoided health hazards. More and better innovations are expected in this area in the future." Thank you for listening.